If you own an electric car, and I'm assuming most of you do because you're watching my channel, you probably know this feeling when you get to a parking spot that's reserved for an electric car, a charging station, and you see a gas hole, what we call them, parked his or her, a gas car in a spot, and essentially taking that away from you or someone else who was hoping to charge, and it doesn't feel very good. But this week we got iced by an entire company, by Chevy, where they parked their brand new 2020 Corvette that is just unveiled in the spot where all of those electric cars that they promised us were supposed to have. Not even a hybrid version. Not even a hybrid version, unfortunately. Let's talk about this car, why it represents, Chevy, what it tells us about Chevy's real intention about electrification, whether we should still have some hopes. And while I try to keep my blood pressure down within a reasonable threshold, I'm also going to tell you why Chevy can produce this car in an all-electric version like right now or even yesterday. All of this is coming up next. Taking over the world, electrifying the world, E4 Electric! Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source of unbiased electric car news. If this is your first time here, go ahead and click on that button down there. It's called subscribe. That way you won't miss anything moving forward. All right, so let's talk about it. Now, I am part of the Chevy family right now, and I own a Chevy Volt. I fell in love with it, I have to say. I bought it as a commuter car. I mean, I'm leasing it, obviously, as a commuter car. But once I got rid of my a third and last Tesla and decided not to get one, or at least to wait to get another a premium electric car, I kind of fell in love with my Volt, and I've been driving it as my primary car for a while. Almost never use gas, I have to say, unless I'm going on a long trip like I am tomorrow to go all the way to the Bay Area. But I was using that for a commuter car even when I had a Tesla. So obviously, Chevy kind of made a pretty decent attempt with a Chevy Bolt. Granted, I don't like the way it looks. It's a bit boring. It's kind of a compliance looking. Even their press video is kind of boring. But they were the first ones after Tesla, the first legacy manufacturer to have a range of over 200 miles. That was a big deal. But don't forget, that was like few years ago, and since then they haven't done much. They haven't advertised this car. I always thought they should have put that technology into the Volt, and then it would be a winning situation, because I think the Volt is a good looking compact car. The technology is pretty good in a Bolt, so together that would be a great combination. But instead, they didn't listen to me. They never do. They just decided to discontinue the Chevy Volt, period, which was a pretty disappointing thing, because I've never met a Chevy Volt owner, even if that same owner owns a Tesla, who wasn't in love with his or her Volt. So that's very unfortunate, but they promised us all those electric cars, and instead what we see today is this. Now, I gotta say, it's a good looking car, like that, and their press picture is actually pretty good. So if anything, I'll give them that. This is what's going to look like inside. It is a sports car, so really not that big of a deal. But the look, as I'm really digging the look. But this is, as a single guy who's been using dating apps, it's not the first time I'm disappointed by something very pretty looking in pictures. So I'm kind of used to it. But Chevy, you can do this. So let's talk about why I think this could be an electric car right now. And the only reason it's not is just because they don't want to. So let's talk about it. Before that, of course, a quick reminder that this video and this channel is sponsored by all-electric SUV called M-Byte from Byton. Check them out in the description of this video is where you can reserve one. It takes $0 to reserve one, and about, a minute of your time, depending on how fast you can type, starting at under $45,000 coming to US and Europe at the end of the next year. So go and reserve your Byton today. All right, so let's talk about cars that are sort of in the same category, sports cars, maybe a little bit of hypercars, but the technology is there. Automobili Pininfarina that you've seen featured on my show that looking very similar, has a high performance, great cars with 2000 almost horsepower, great specs. The technology is there. Rimac with the Concept 2, that's a second version of their sports car, also with great specs, Also, obviously, the technology is there. Now, yes, I know they're not as cheap as Corvettes, but talking about technology, this week, Lotus has revealed their hypercar, and that one is also has really good specs. And actually, I'm digging the look of it. Out of those three that I showed, I think I'm not a sports car kind of guy, but I'm really digging their look. And of course, let's not forget about Tesla Roadster, the second generation, right? There was one that was pretty decent that also has the technology. But one thing, let me remind you, and I know I haven't done the story on this channel. If only was this company that already figured out how to convert not any car, not any sports car, but specifically a Corvette into an electric car that actually performs better than the original version. But oh wait, there is. That's right. You've seen this on my show. Their CEO, much like a CEO of other companies that I just mentioned, has been on my show, but enough of name dropping, because this company does nothing but convert the existing Corvettes into an electric version that has a better performance. So the technology is definitely there, not just generally speaking for electric cars. It is specifically here for the Corvette. And you know, the newer version of Corvette actually has a mid engine, which is sort of very friendly to a possible hybrid or plug-in electric or full electric version. And I believe one of their team members was recently asked about it, and you know, whether they're going to come up with one, and they said, you know, stay tuned, you'll never know, or something like that. So very Trumpy answer, I have to say, but it just really means nothing. That means that no, they're not planning anything. It's like when I go to a bakery and I say, hey guys, do you have anything gluten-free? They're like, no. I'm like, do you think you'll have some in the future? Stay tuned. You never know. They will never have gluten-free cookies for me. That's just how I know. So, but with this Genovation, and it's called Genovation GXC, they figured out how to do it right now. So really all Chevy has to do is buy them. And they have the money. Now, I don't know if they're for sale. I mean, obviously for the right amount of money, everybody is on sale. I should say everybody, I should say the company, right? So why not try it? You can get this technology. And yes, this company, this car does cost a lot because they're converting it. If you're just going to be doing it from scratch in a larger scale, you can really get the price down where Corvette actually should be. So Chevy, you can do it obviously, but you won't. So I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed where, you know, Chevy might be going with this, and maybe much like with the BMW group that's just essentially fired their CEO, maybe that's what it's going to take. As a matter of fact, I have Eli Burton of My Tesla Adventure as a guest on Sunday. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, don't forget to do that, because we're going to dedicate an entire video about what should we do. As a matter of fact, I asked him a question. What would you do as a new BMW CEO if you just wake up in the movie where you are one? And you know, he gave me some interesting answers, but I think that's what it's going to take. The head of the company needs to be changed, and it needs to be changed to someone who understands that the future is electric. I'm so tired of saying this over and over again, but the future is electric. All right. Well, I'm gonna go and try to, you know, again, under the threshold, my blood pressure. But before that, of course, I want to say thank you to one of my newer Patreons. That actually makes my blood pressure very happy. Felipe Calestin, thank you so much for becoming one of my newer Patreons and supporting my new Feed a YouTuber program for only $5 a month. Can you believe that? You can provide food and shelter and press passes to Chevy electric car unveilings in the future. If you are interested, patreon.com/e4electric. But even if you don't want to give a penny to this guy over here, you can still get something free on this channel. As a matter of fact, this is the second free thing that you can get in the description of this video, which is sign up with our VIP list. That's where we send a bonus story. And by the way, this bonus story this week is about the Lotus car, the all-electric Lotus that I just mentioned. We just couldn't fit it into all of the programming on the channel, even on e4electric.com website, but you will get that article in your inbox if you sign up for free. Go to e4electric.com/VIP. Let me know what you think. Do you think Chevy is making a mistake, or Chevy is just being Chevy? Either way, looking forward to that. Other than that, see you next time. Have a great weekend. And of course, remember to stay charged.